I look like a gremlin. I sound like a gremlin. I feel like a gremlin.
I am a gremlin. I'm
So tired after Eurovision week. I wish I could fake high energy for this video, but we're gonna have to deal with a very, very, very low energy, subdued, almost like it feels like I've been drugged type of Sean. Eurovision, I'm telling you, Eurovision takes a toll. Maybe a couple years ago, I remember in Liverpool, I partied it up in Liverpool. I went to I did everything there. It was a blast, and my body was just in a different state. And now, I don't know, 3 years later, I'm officially in my 30s. I don't know if the 30s just changes you, but damn, I feel like I'm 58 right now. I feel dead. Well, sorry, to the 58-year-old. No, not that. Fuck. Basically, what are we doing today? Today, we are going to do the Eurovision 2026 awards. Now, what does this entail? Basically, obviously we know who wins the jury vote and the televote and the overall vote, but we never talk about who had the best staging, who had the best vocal, best lyrics, best music video, best costume, best. We don't talk about those things, and I feel like there needs to be awards given out every single year, official awards dedicated to all of those different categories and more. And so that's why I'm here today, because I am going to dissect those categories, look at the nominees, and crown a winner. I don't want to waste any time, so before we get into it, make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this video, and comment your thoughts. Who would be your winners for all of the different categories that we're talking about today? Before we get into giving out Eurovision awards for best vocals, best staging, best lyrics, and more, I need to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, Aniba. Us Eurovision fans, we love the sick and twisted game of Eurovision, which is basically just like a real-life Hunger Games, and Aniba is the perfect outlet for curing your PED, post-Eurovision depression, because it gives you access to a marketplace with over 40,000 digital products, including other games you'll love, gift cards, DLCs, in-game currency, and random in-game items for really good prices across PC, console, and mobile. So whether you want cheaper PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo gift cards, or Fortnite skins that genuinely look like Eurovision contestants of the past, like, who knows, maybe Damiano David from Måneskin, or acts from this year, like Felicia from Sweden and Lion Sika from Lithuania, Aniba has an absurd amount of options. They also offer 24/7 live support, which is comforting considering that Eurovision fans collectively need emotional support every May. Okay, not that kind of support, but for gaming purchases, you're covered. So head over to aniba.com by clicking on my specific links in the description below for deals and let them know that I sent you. And we're gonna start with best lyrics. This year, I'm not gonna lie, we actually have a pretty strong selection of lyrics overall. However, our English lyrics, they weren't that good. Many are definitely on the weaker side. Georgia, listen, nothing will ever be worse than, days in a row. I'm thinking I know, I've got a big faith, my love is my crown, will be better way, will be better day now. It is not a secret. That is Georgia 2023 for you. And oh my fucking God, I still legit cannot get over how a song at Eurovision in recent years was sent with lyrics that were genuinely nonsensical. Those lyrics, that's like the level of coherency I would speak when I got pissed drunk at a nightclub in my 20s, or who am I kidding? Probably at the Euro Club when I was there this week in Vienna. Nonsensical. This year, it wasn't much better lyrically. Lyrics like "Can't Disguise Our Thunder," "No Code," "No Clone," or "We Go Wild," "Oh My," "Shameless," "We Tear It Up," "Don't Ask Why" from Georgia, like that. Is there seriously not one native English-speaking lyricist in that fucking country? It genuinely makes me a little bit upset because I'm just sing in Georgian. Like, what are you doing? Then there's Germany singing a song called Fire. And at this point, a song called Fire or Fuego or Fueln or anything pyro related, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to hear it. Unless maybe it's more conceptual, like Finland this year, obviously the song title translated to flamethrower, but I can stomach that. It's thinking a little bit more outside of the box. And yeah, also we can't forget about Norway's song, which uses the word yeah 70 times in under 3 minutes. So yeah is a no for me. But with that being said, some of the strongest and most impactful lyrics that were in this year's competition were actually coming from songs that are not in English. So let's get into my top 4 for best lyrics, and then we'll crown a winner. Italy is not your typical love song filled with poetic metaphors or fluffy romantic language, and that is part of the appeal. Sal Da Vinci gets straight to the point with direct, raw, and primal emotion about his commitment to his lover, and to me, nothing is sexier than that. I mean, I brought my mom for the first half of Eurovision to Vienna, and I mean, trust me, she would agree nothing is sexier than that. Sorry, Mom. What I love about the lyrics is that it's not glorifying or romanticizing love like every other love song on the radio. It goes much deeper. Like, for example, have you and your partner both had food poisoning because you ate the wrong thing and then now liquids are shooting out of every orifice, but you only have one toilet to share? Yeah, me neither. But coming out of situations like that and being stronger for it, that is true love. And I'm sure that's what Mr. Sal da Vinci is talking about when he wrote these lyrics. Like, a love is not a lifelong love if it hasn't faced the steepest climb. Food poisoning, 2 people, 1 toilet. That is the steepest climb that he's probably referring to. No, but it's true. I mean, my mom is a divorce consultant, so I grew up my whole life hearing stories about separation, infidelity, cheating, abuse. And so surface level love songs that oversimplify romance, sure, nice, whatever. But songs like Per Sempre Si feel more real. They feel more credible and much more impactful. But it's not just the lyrics, because the way that they're structured with short phrases expressing commitment and deliberate pauses in between, which makes it feel like a powerful declaration of love, chef's kiss. Each line lands with weight, like he's reinforcing a promise in real time, and it makes the emotion feel more firm and convincing. Oop, my mic. You get the point. And then to have a powerfully romantic song sung in romance language, I mean, yeah. Do I need to say more? I mean, you could tell me I'm loud, ugly, and unfunny in Italian, and I'd still be like, wow, that was beautiful. Please say it again.
Sei rumoroso. Non fai ridere e sei brutto.
So overall, this isn't just a love song. It is a legally binding emotional contract that I'm signing. Our next nominee is Croatia. Croatia's song is rooted in the historical oppression of Catholic women in the Balkans under Ottoman rule. Now, I am a fucking dumb North American idiot because I'm not American, but I'm a Canadian North American idiot because when this was selected to represent Croatia, I immediately created a TikTok video just giving my initial thoughts, and being the genius that I am, I said that the song made me feel like Croatia is dragging my ass into the woods full of Croatian witches that are casting a spell on me. Didn't land well with the Croatian people. So understandably, my insensitive ass is now canceled in Croatia. For context, during the performance, the women wear traditional and permanent tattoos known as sikanje, I think, which was to mark identity and faith, helping to prevent women and children from being taken or forcibly converted during that period of time. Now, we watch Eurovision to travel through music, and what I love about Croatia's song this year is that we were getting insight into their language, culture, customs, history, and so much more through this performance. This is why I love Eurovision. The lyrics also cut like knives. The original lyrics are in Croatian, but translated, here's some of the most poignant ones. Our mothers did not give birth to slaves. So many tears have flowed like rivers. Why is history written all over again? All the scars carved to the bone. No mother will forgive what you've done while you wash your hands in the blood of our wounds. What I love about the title of Andromeda is that it offers 2 separate interpretations. On one hand, it refers to the galaxy Andromeda, often described as the Milky Way's sister galaxy, which is set to merge rather than collide, symbolizing women coming together and becoming stronger as one. On the other hand, it references the Greek myth of a woman Andromeda, punished for decisions she didn't make, reflecting how women have historically borne the consequences of war, that stupid men with small penises start. It's just a reality. Donald Trump. The song is sonically powerful, which makes sense because the lyrics don't just harp on suffering, but focus on survival, identity, and resistance, and it is so well thought out. Now let's talk about Albania. In recent memory at Eurovision, there have now been 2 songs titled Mother. One from Belgium in 2014, where the poor guy was on the verge of a breakdown for 3 solid minutes, and then one translated from Albania this year, with lyrics so tragic that they have me breaking down. Albania's entry in Nan is about immigration, family separation, and that very real experience of leaving home and immigrating for a better life. And what that actually does to the people you leave behind, including your poor, old, lonely mother. It's honestly songs and shit like this that makes me question whether I want to be a parent, because if I birthed a child, raised them in the safety of my nest and my bosom, watched them grow up, and then had them be like, yeah, thanks mom, peace out, I'm moving halfway across the globe, I would end it all. That would destroy me. I'm too sensitive. I can't be a parent. So already the topic is not just unique, but emotionally grabbing. You know, it's emotionally grabbing my heart, and it's just crushing it. The imagery these lyrics offer make this song a tragedy, with lines like, we still see your shadows running down the hall. We hear your voices in the yard. I hear a great big laugh. I open the window, but there's no one there. Know that mother waits for you. She waves you down the road, still standing at the doorway. Genuinely, like, I don't know. There's something about the lyrics here that are just so tragic. Whether you are a mom or you're not a mom or you're whoever the fuck you are, like, it just hits you hard if you're not a psychopath and you actually have emotion. The lyrics so poignantly just paint a picture of this woman who is frozen in time, holding on to memories while everything else moves on. So often we hear stories of the people who leave home to chase better opportunities, and we never hear this side of the equation where people stay behind in homes and communities that just go quiet. And this song effectively gives a voice to the silence that they're left with, and it's absolutely gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. Now let's talk about our other nominee, Moldova. Moldova once again proved that you can be chaotic and smart at the same time with Viva Moldova. On the surface, it feels like pure nonsense, with lyrics like Viva Moldova, Aloha, Adio, Vida Loca, Saroka, Europa. Like he just threw rhyming words into a blender and hit start, but it works, and here's why. What makes the lyrics truly strong is that they're playful on the surface, but intentional underneath. He's mixing languages, name-dropping Moldovan places like Soroka, referencing culture, Doina, Hora, Limba Romana, Maria Mirabella. I probably pronounced all of those things wrong, but you get the point. And so yeah, the song builds an identity that feels proudly Moldovan without taking itself too seriously. Even though it's mostly in Moldovan, you immediately understand the vibe. It's proud without being cringe, patriotic without feeling like propaganda, and self-aware enough to actually joke about itself. And when I say patriotic without feeling like propaganda, you know, patriotic with feeling like propaganda would be I Love Belarus from 2011. That's where it goes wrong in this space lyrically. And when I talk about self-awareness and the humor, like there's literally a lyric that basically is like, yeah, we love our fucking wine. What about it? If you don't know anything about Moldova, they actually do have the largest underground wine cellar in the world because, you know, in case World War III happens, at least Moldovans can go in their little bunker and get drunk. Anyways, the context here is really what elevates the entry. With reports of Russian-linked interference and disinformation during recent presidential elections in the country, Moldova still chose its pro-EU path, and suddenly, Viva Moldova doesn't feel like a gimmick anymore. It feels like a statement. We're here, we're proud, and we're doing things our way despite attempts to interfere. And I mean, clearly that resonated because in the national final, he didn't just win, he obliterated the competition, getting more votes than all other 15 acts combined. It's confident, self-aware, and rooted in something culturally real, which to me is why it works. But ultimately, there can only be one winner in this category. And when it comes down to it, I feel like there might be no surprise here. I think a lot of people felt this intensely when I was at Eurovision. Actually, fun fact, I watched it in the green room and I was emotional and very verklempt. And the performance was done and I looked to my left and ESC Factful, who's another incredible Eurovision content creator, she was like a disaster too. And there were other people as well. So yeah, this song just gets to people. If you feel it, you feel it. And I fucking felt it. So Albania is my winner when it comes to best lyrics. Also, side note, the first day that I got to Eurovision, I went to a party hosted by the mayor, which was honestly, that feels like a fever dream. It was a fever dream. Basically, I was just talking to a girl and I didn't know who she was or whatever. And turns out she was the lyricist for the song. And not only the lyricist, but the girlfriend of Alice. And so I feel like because I met her and all that shit, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but ultimately the lyrics are incredible. They are my favorite lyrics, so fuck it. Yeah, Albania is my winner. Now let's talk about our next category, Best Music Video. Cyprus sent a music video to Eurovision that features the artist, Antigone's grandmother, slick choreography, that viral hotel that it's in fucking every Cypriot Eurovision video, a viral supermodel with a unibrow, a father-son dance duo from Britain's Got Talent, and a viral Cypriot internet character named, I need you to stay with me here, Souvlaki the Cypriot Smurf. That's his real name. And it's somehow one of the strongest videos of this competition. This whole thing has this infectious, everyone's invited to the party energy that is so inviting with, you know, shots of her dancing with adorable children to her playing chess and chilling with folks in their third trimester of life. Antigone literally, I love saying that name, Antigone literally grew up filming herself performing Alina Paparizou. I love that name too. Anyways, okay, I gotta fucking focus. Sean, stop with your ADD. Antigone literally grew up filming herself performing Alina Paparizou's songs in her grandmother's garden, and that same grandmother, Yi Antigone, is now in the music video, which is absolutely iconic.
Hey,
Every outfit looks like $1,000,000 on her, and the whole thing is just a visual eyegasm, including shots of her in the back of a vintage pickup truck filled with oranges, to then the scenes of everyone dancing and partying, throwing papers in the air. Tens, tens, tens across the board. Wow, my voice cracked. Now let's talk about Armenia. With Armenia, right from the start, you get this really clever setup. Former Armenian Eurovision contestant Iveta Makuchian plays the role of the boss in the office scene, and she asks her employee Simon for documents, and when she opens them, it's not work at all. It's actually images of past Armenian Eurovision contestants. So immediately, you're getting the vibe here. You know, this man does not want to be in the office. He is stuck in this gray corporate 9 to 5, but mentally, he's dreaming of being on the Eurovision stage. Love the concept, because for 360 fucking years of the day, days of the year. Wow, I'm tired. Days of the year, I feel the same way that Simon does. Anyways, you probably are not understanding a word that's coming out of my mouth. Anyways, Iveta in the music video, obviously she becomes furious that he's not doing his work, and the video officially begins, where you can see Simon for 3 minutes dream of tearing the office apart, dancing like there's no tomorrow, and acting crazy in opposition to the corporate lifestyle, the 9 to 5 grind, and bosses who are assholes. If you've ever had a shitty boss, this type of mental vacation is a common byproduct, along with visualizations of shouting at them while they're tied to a chair with their mouth taped. Anyone? Is that just me? Anyways, that's what the entire video builds on. It turns that office into this dystopian robotic environment, everyone moving the same, thinking the same, stuck in this copy-paste routine, and it perfectly mirrors the lyrics. The choreography starts off stiff and lifeless, like everyone's just going through the motions, and then as the song builds, it breaks open. The dancers loosen up, the movements get bigger, more expressive, and it becomes this brilliant visual rebellion against the corporate monotony. This isn't just a music video, it is a resignation letter with absolutely incredible choreography.
One more time!
Now on to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I don't know what to say. I mean, the corporate burnout music videos did a really solid job this year, because the UK also nailed it with this one. We open with him aggressively stamping on papers as if he's releasing all of his pent-up rage for the UK doing shit at Eurovision lately. Hey, I mean, at least the bar was kind of low for him in the first place. He's really expressive, which is great because he was also this way at Eurovision. In the music video, the frustration builds. The office walls literally start closing in on him, and it perfectly matches that feeling of, I need to quit my job immediately or I will combust. Then the chorus hits with the eins, zwei, drei, and suddenly we're in this chaotic tech nightmare with TV screens screaming at us these numbers, and it's weird and it's quirky and it's unsettling. It perfectly matches the energy of the song. I mean, I don't like the song, but yeah, I can't deny the music video is great. Side note too, the video gets extra brownie points because he built a lot of the props himself. Not just a musician, but he's also a technician. He also became a father too. So a musician, a technician, a father, a Eurovision rep. Get yourself a man who could do it all, except, you know, one who actually wins Eurovision maybe. Comes close to winning Eurovision. This song and video makes this entry the most aggressively British Eurovision submission since Scooch. Nothing will ever beat that level of pride. And I know that's a shame to the British public. I know you don't like that entry, but yeah, it comes close to that on the level of patriotism and Britishness. But yeah, we have baked beans in the video, the English breakfast, the lyric, that will be a pony, which a pony is 25 pounds for reference. We have the Union Jack colored jet stream from the car, and yet this song title is still in German. So, you know, sure, it's an identity crisis, but kind of in the best chaotic Eurovision-y way possible, and I always enjoy when a country leans into their pride. Now on to Greece. Greece's music video is their best music video in the history of the contest, point blank, period. Their entire goal here was to grab your attention, and it's the kind of video where you cannot simply look away. They carried over that video game aesthetic from the national final performance, where it almost felt like, you know, the video was sponsored by Nintendo. It lands you in this Super Mario coded universe, except it's Super Achilles, and you watch him start with 7 lives, and continuously he loses them throughout the video. At the end of the video, he's only got 1 life left and decides to spend it by singing his song on stage at Eurovision, which is honestly the most fucking adorable thing in the world. And the meaning behind that too, I mean, like, that's so, I don't know, there's something very beautifully like symbolic about that. Got 1 life left. Live at large, sing your song on Eurovision, go big or go home.
Whatever, cada la vez.
Visually, it's doing the most, but in the best way that keeps you completely locked in. There are so many little details with the Ferto teeth bling, you know, the crazy food shots of sashimi and escargot, the subtle Greek elements woven in like Achilles playing the lyra or whatever that fucking instrument is called. Lately, it feels like Greece actually knows what they're doing in the contest. There's intention, investment, and there's this, I don't know, there's taste. And it's starting to give the same energy that honestly Switzerland had before they won. That level of effort where it feels like they're hungry for a win, kind of, and you know, we're seeing that same thing, obviously. I mean, we saw it with France and Finland and lately in the competition too. And overall, when it comes to this category of best music video, I think it's quite undeniable that Ferto was just, I think, leaps and bounds ahead of the other competition, truly. Now let's get to my personal favorite category, Best Vocal. This category takes in for consideration the vocal at national finals, the studio, you know, itself, and also the pre-parties, along with, of course, Eurovision. So many strong ones. So let me give a shout out to the ones that will not make our 4 nominees. Poland, Montenegro, France came close, Lithuania, Albania, Bulgaria. One of the absolute standouts, let's talk about Australia. When this song first dropped, and some people online were saying, or still honestly during the final of year, she sounds like she's screaming. I can't deal with people who like don't understand something and they speak on things that they just know nothing about. Like, that is my legit biggest pet peeve in the world. I genuinely had a mental breakdown. I apologize to people who have low functioning eardrums, and I honestly, I pity you, because life must suck hard not to be able to enjoy all that Delta Goodrem is as an artist. For those of you who came into Eurovision this year not knowing who Delta Goodrem is, she is perceived as the Australian Celine Dion, and she is one of the most iconic and successful and vocally gifted artists that Australia has ever produced. And every single live performance was just abso-fucking-lutely flawless. This song requires these massive upper register belts, insanely long sustained notes, high falsettos, key changes from hell, and she never missed, not once. But what made it even better is that she didn't sing it like a robot by just singing the notes always on the page. She actually felt the music. Sometimes she'd slightly change the melody up, like, you know, live, depending on the emotion of that moment. And that to me is true artistry. That is musicality. You can't teach that.
And it won't be long, and it won't be long.
Either you have it or you don't, and Delta Goodrem absolutely has it. And for me to fucking even say, like, who am I to say? Like, it goes without saying. I shouldn't even need to say it. And I guess I do, because some people are, she's screaming. Well, I'm gonna scream at you because you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm legit furious. And don't even get me started on the key change. I know I mentioned it briefly because, you know, in that moment, my soul genuinely leaves my body temporarily every time it happens. My favorite key change in Eurovision is Carola in 1991. I know that's a blast from the past, but honestly, this key change, I'd have to really look into it and be like, which one is now my favorite? Because this one, that vocal swirl, ooh. So yeah, she somehow swirls vocally into this higher octave with such ease, and technically speaking, the placement and control she like has in her, you know, voice, it's a vocal coach's dream for them to have a student like that, because her mixed register doesn't even sound like a fucking mixed register. It sounds like a full chest belt the entire time. It is, I'm telling you, it's vocal witchcraft. I could go on forever about her voice. But yeah, there's a reason Australia stayed near the top of the odds to win the jury vote for so much of the season. Because whether you like the song or not, vocally, Delta Goodrem was undeniably one of the strongest vocalists, not only of Eurovision 2026, but one of the strongest vocalists we've ever seen at Eurovision, period. One other thing about Delta Goodrem is she actually dealt with a very serious illness in her life that prevented her, and she had to relearn how to like talk and move at one point. And the fact that she can now sing the way she does, I don't know what to say. Now on to Romania. Romania's vocalist was doing something that should not work on paper, because this song somehow combined two of the most opposite genres imaginable, opera and rock. And Alexandra Capitanescu didn't just attempt both, she absolutely devoured both every single time that she stepped on stage. One second she's delivering these bright, pristine, almost Sarah Brightman-esque operatic soprano staccato notes with intense and insane precision and control. And then out of nowhere, she switches into these gritty, raw, emotionally shredded Janis Joplin-style rock vocals. And the craziest part is that the transitions between the two genres were absolutely seamless. Like genuinely seamless. There was never a moment where it felt awkward or forced or like she was trying to do both styles. She just naturally existed in both worlds at the same time. I dare you to tell me another act on the planet that is able to execute on these two genres or any other two sonically very opposite, diverse genres with such ease within a single song. Yeah, no, I'm waiting. The entire performance felt like emotional whiplash in the best possible way. 1 second it's Evanescence, then it's JJ, then there's this full Janis Joplin moment as I mentioned, and then we're back in this theatrical operatic explosion. It genuinely felt like multiple iconic artists were possessing her throughout the performance, and given the way that she was actually staring into the camera at Eurovision, when I mean possessed, I mean possessed. Also, not to casually mention this at the end, but she was hitting whistle notes too. Whistle notes. So whistle notes, you got the opera, the rock, whistle notes, as if this song wasn't already doing the absolute most vocally. And throughout the entire Eurovision season, from national final performance to pre-parties to Eurovision itself, she was on another level. And she was another artist that basically never had a bad vocal at any point throughout the season. For the most part, I'd say actually her semifinal 2 live performance, it wasn't bad, but it was just like not like perfection like she usually was. So yeah, for the most part, no shaky notes, no weak moments, no collapse, just pure controlled chaos and one of the most impressive displays of vocal versatility that we saw this year, or for that matter, ever at Eurovision. The next one's gonna get me hate, but I don't care. Well, let's talk about Germany. Because yes, maybe the song itself was generic as fuck, but Germany and Sarah Engels had some of the strongest vocals undeniably of the year, and I don't want to hear any opposition to that statement. And I think sometimes Eurovision fans get so caught up in whether a song is experimental or artistic or, cool, that they forget that, sometimes when we just need to evaluate the vocal itself, songs like this or contestants like Sarah, they can win in this category. Because vocally, she was kind of insane. The song is rangy as hell, one of the most rangy songs that we got this year. It demands huge upper register belts, sustained power, constant control, and she was doing all of that while also throwing in these really gritty vocal growls that, are very hard to do. No one else, I don't think, really did it. Maybe Romania at some points throughout the season, but the point is, those vocal growls added a lot of texture and personality to her performance, and to a song that, yes, was generic. Out of all the acts this year vocally, maybe I would say she was the most consistent. Like genuinely one of the most reliable live vocalists of the year. There was never moments where I was nervous for her vocally because she just always sounded completely locked in. I will say when comparing, artists like her and Delta, maybe she was more consistent vocally than Delta, although Delta was extremely consistent. However, maybe Sarah's downfall would be that she didn't have as much artistry or musicality because the performance was always very consistent in terms of her approach. She didn't really switch up the melody that much. So that's like her one downfall in my view. Also, she has this really broad, open vocal tone that I personally love. Her voice fills space in a way that feels massive and dramatic without sounding strained. So yes, am I a little biased because I personally love her vocal tone? Absolutely, I can admit that. But bias aside, the power, consistency, and sheer control she showed throughout the season was undeniable. And what can I say? She's on fire, and you would be a liar for denying her right of being one of the nominees. So how dare you? And finally, we have, drumroll, Serbia. Now, to be clear, screamo and metal are not usually my genre of choice whatsoever. Like, I am not sitting at home casually listening to blood-curdling demonic screams for relaxation purposes after work. However, I cannot deny what Lavina did this year, because vocally, this performance was genuinely diabolical in the best possible way. The way the song builds vocally is honestly kind of genius. He starts incredibly low in his register with this dark, ominous, almost whispered tone that immediately puts you on edge. It feels mysterious, theatrical, and perfectly matches the song's whole mystical production. Then by the second chorus, he suddenly ascends vocally and starts singing much higher in this more mid-range placement, which already shows a pretty insane amount of range and control. But what really elevates the performance for me is the emotional intensity behind it all. He doesn't scream and hit that note, that famous, infamous note. He screams in a way that genuinely feels desperate, angry, tortured, devastated, like every emotion is collapsing in on itself at once. The whole thing feels, less like a Eurovision performance and more like this dark gothic art piece unfolding on stage in real time. His level of emotional commitment is what makes it feel so epic. Too epic to be true, in fact. That joke's for the Estonians. Unlike the Estonia performance this year, Serbia actually is definitely solidly in this category of best vocalists. Whoop. Yeah, anyways, it becomes one of the most dramatically theatrical performances we've gotten at Eurovision over the last decade. But let's talk about the end of this performance. This man unleashes this guttural, blood-curdling scream that lasts for what feels like an eternity, and it's the type of scream where if I attempted it once, my vocal cords would file a fucking restraining order against me and immediately leave my body and hop into the mouth of like Ava Maria. Someone who uses their voice in maybe much more of a simply, more pleasant, beautifully type of way. Fuck, that now sounds like a knock on Ava Maria, but it's not. I'm just saying it's the dichotomy, of like, versus like, Mother Nature, she knows. Yeah, and anyways, I think a lot of Eurovision viewers forget something really important here. These artists are not just singing the song once on live TV, they're doing rehearsals, family shows, jury shows, dress rehearsals, live broadcasts over and over and truly over again throughout the entire Eurovision week. So the fact that my boy Lavino was able to execute those kinds of screams repeatedly without his vocals deteriorating is honestly one of the strongest indicators that his technique is incredibly solid. Because performances like that can genuinely, absolutely destroy a voice if they're not done properly. That's speaking from someone who used to sing a lot in my early childhood up until my late teens. And in my early childhood, I was not singing properly and I was not singing well, which allowed me to develop nodules on my voice and polyps and all of these gross things where you had to get the thing going, your thing, and it was camera and it looked at it and I had to go to the doctor all the time. Not fun. And he clearly does not probably need to do that because he did not struggle with laryngitis throughout the Eurovision week, which is astounding to me, given his control must be amazing. Anyways, I could talk about this forever, but yeah, the final chorus, he fully ascends into another octave, and it's extremely the progression is just it shows up. I'm honestly lost for words just thinking about it. So whether the genre is your thing or not, for me it's not, but I still love the song because he sold me on it. Vocally, this was one of the hardest songs to pull off this year, and Lavina absolutely delivered it every single time. I know typically I've had 4 nominees for these categories, but I have to also put in Czechia into this category because the boy, I'll make this short and sweet because I feel like I've spoken a lot about the other ones, but I don't need to say much. I think everyone really saw what happened. Like this song, it's slow, not appealing to the masses, it's experimental, it's artistic, it's kind of avant-garde, and maybe not the most accessible song in the world, but it still managed to qualify. The juries absolutely respected it, and there's no surprise because Daniel, seriously, like it astounds me how good this guy can sing his fucking ass off. I think there were some songs, don't misunderstand me. I think all the songs in this category were extremely demanding. I think his song maybe wasn't the most vocally demanding. However, I do think, I want to say, without saying who my winner is yet, I think he probably gave the most solid, consistent, artistic vocal probably of the bunch, despite it maybe not being the most difficult vocal, if that makes sense. The craziest part is I was in the green room for semifinal 2 for the jury show, and someone mentioned to me, they were like, yeah, he's pretty young. He honestly hasn't had a lot of experience like on stages. This is like a really big deal for him. It was someone told me that, and they were speaking to the Czech delegation previously, which is kind of batshit crazy that like you can be, what, is he like 20? He looks like he's 12, but like you can be like 20 years old and you haven't performed much and you get on the stage, you know that 200 million people are watching and you absolutely vocally devour. You don't sound scared, nervous, anything whatsoever. He obliterated. So yeah, I have to put that 5th one in there because, as I said, I love this category. I love his voice. I love all of the people on this list, and there were some extremely solid vocalists this year. But with that being said, who's the strongest? I gotta give it to my girl Delta, and I don't really think with any of these, I don't think there's necessarily an explanation that's necessary because it kind of would make sense with any of them winning. But Delta, I think for me, I think she takes it. So now let's talk about the best staging, and we'll start with Bulgaria. This is how you make an unlikable song likable. Because I'm going to be honest, when I first heard the song, I genuinely did not think Bulgaria was qualifying at all. Then I saw the jury show and immediately I was like, shit, this is absolutely qualifying. Honestly, it felt like a potential top 5 in that semifinal because the staging completely understood the assignment. The song is chaotic, it's theatrical, weird, constantly changing genres and tempos, and instead of trying to maybe like tone that down, Bulgaria leaned fully into that madness. The performance starts inside this rotating office-like wooden structure with Dara and 4 dancers doing absolutely insane choreography. Yes, I'm calling it choreography. Everything is constantly moving, the room spins, the camera angles shift, the dancers are flipping around, and the performance immediately throws you into this high-energy fever dream that perfectly matches the song. Then halfway through, the wooden structure opens up and the performance explodes onto the full Eurovision stage, which is where it really comes alive. Dara attacked this performance with more energy than almost anyone this year. The facial expressions, the intensity, the physicality of the choreography, she's committed to every second of it like her life depends on it. And it's funny because I actually noticed that energy before Eurovision even started, because the first night that I got to Vienna, I saw Dara at the Vienna Mayor Eurovision welcome party where all the artists were basically partying and celebrating. But Miss Dara, she showed up dancing like a true absolute maniac on the dance floor. I remember thinking like, you need to preserve that energy, preserve your voice, contain yourself, go to bed. You're too wired. You're gonna not have that energy for the live show. But she's literally an Energizer bunny. Somehow she brought that exact same chaotic energy to the Eurovision stage. She never missed that energy throughout the whole Eurovision week. It was always present. Even from the audience's perspective, without the TV angles, the staging concept was brilliant. Having stage men physically rotate the wooden structure throughout the performance created these immersive camera shots and kept the energy constantly building. The performance never sat still for a second, and that's exactly why it worked. Overall, Bulgaria, solid. I don't know what the fuck I just did. Now let's talk about Greece. Greece undeniably had one of the most consistently visually engaging stagings that we've ever seen at Eurovision. And this performance was made for television. From the literal opening second where he presses start like a video game character and suddenly appears on the LED screen, you immediately understand the vibe. This is going to be weird, wacky, chaotic, and fun. And honestly, the performance never loses momentum after that. The LED tunnel sequence is genuinely one of the most coolest visual concepts I can remember seeing at Eurovision. It creates this insanely immersive optical illusion where it almost feels like he's floating through a digital vortex. It's so trippy that if you watch this like half asleep at 2 a.m. or maybe like high, you probably would think that you've like accidentally entered another dimension. Then you've got the violin string moment where he's pretending to play another human being like an instrument, which is so stupid in the best possible way. It perfectly matches the quirky humor of the song while also weirdly acting as this subtle homage to Alina Paparizou and her winning performance for Greece in 2005 when she did the same thing. And the performance just keeps throwing visual ideas at you non-stop. I could go on forever. I mean, the slot machine LEDs, a giant hurricane of food emojis, him scootering on stage while fireworks literally chase him across the arena, Greek statues, the Greek granny, the golden Greek man, random characters constantly appearing and disappearing like you're basically flipping through pages in some completely unhinged Greek storybook. And somehow, it all works. Because the staging understands exactly what the song is. It's playful, self-aware, chaotic, and deeply unserious in the best Eurovision-y way possible. But what really elevates the performance for me is the bridge. Because right when you think the performance is just 3 minutes of camp insanity, it suddenly pivots emotionally, and the visuals calm down, the vocals become more vulnerable, and you get this genuinely moving moment where he sings about wanting to give himself and his mom a better life after, you know, because she raised him as a single mom. The lyrics are on screen. It's very, very emotional. And honestly, coming from a single parent household myself, this is something that really is like, it's I don't know about you guys, but like I feel like, you know, the chaotic energy and then you would put in this dramatic, deeply personal moment. You would think, okay, that juxtaposition wouldn't maybe allow people quickly enough to feel the emotion. But for me, the intensity is there and I feel it a lot. And I mean, this is not the vocal section of the award ceremony, but like vocally, he slayed that part. It becomes this unexpected jury bait moment hidden inside a completely ridiculous performance, and somehow the emotional transition actually works. Going from absurd comedy to sincere vulnerability without it feeling forced is just, it's really hard to pull that off, and they did in my view. Now, this next one might be controversial. I feel like when we get a copy and paste from a national final, people, like, when it comes to Eurovision, they get bored of it and they're like, oh, it's not that good. But I think at the end of the day, we really can't deny that Finland had incredible staging. I love the fact that, you know, they're separated at the beginning. He's near the wooden structure. She's in a different area, but you see her in the background at the very start. It's very dramatic as he starts to sing. And then by the end of the performance, obviously, they come together. She's shredding on that fucking violin. There's blowing things happening everywhere. There's chairs flying around. There's chairs on the ground. Everything's on fire. Sorry, oh my God, my microphone. I'm getting so passionate about it that I'm like losing my microphone in the midst of this whole explanation. But like, yeah, it's a really solid performance. I think too, just generally, I've said this 1,000 times, Europe loves a violin moment, and just watching her shred on the violin in the moments where it's just so intense and there's the wind is blowing and her dress is gorgeous, and it's just it's such a like visual feast, and it's just so, at the end of the day, it's so Eurovision. That's just what it is. There's not much to talk about it. Like with Greece, as I said, they're throwing so many things at you. But with this one, it's a little bit more simplistic. The setup is a little bit more simplistic. However, it is done so effectively. It is so dramatic, intense, and just so made for television. And that's why I was a favorite the whole season. Okay, and this next one is definitely gonna get me in trouble, I think. But I'm going to go with Italy. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, how dare you? That thing was so tacky. I've seen those comments online. I'm going to give that right back to you and say, how dare you not appreciate the tackiness? Because yes, of course it was tacky, but there's a storyline in this. It didn't exist in any other performance this year, and I love that storyline. A man is getting married. You know, we have the men who are helping him. He's getting dressed. You know, they're getting him, putting him on the suit and all this shit or whatever, and then we have the woman eventually come in and they're dancing together, and it's beautiful, and it's not just normal Eurovision dancing. It's dancing that we rarely see at Eurovision, and it was done so well. For me, I'm on the edge of my seat. It's like Dancing with the Stars, dancing as tango. I don't know what is this genre of dancing? I don't fucking know, but all I do know is I loved seeing it. It went so well with the song. I was obsessed. And then at the very end, to have everyone on stage doing this thing, it creates this level of like intensity for a song that just is very dramatic as well, and a stage performance that I just think is top notch. Also, I mean, that moment with the dress where it shows the Italian flag and she swirls out of it. It's just moments like that that are like, that sticks in your brain. And I always say at Eurovision, I say pretty much in every fucking video, you guys are probably gonna get tired of me saying it, but I really think the most important ingredients are quality, memorability, and cultural flair. And this performance included all of that wrapped in one. And so it's undeniable for me personally, Italy deserves to be in here. But at the end of the day, there can only be one winner. And I gave Greece the best music video category, but I also feel personally, as I said, they threw everything at us. There was not a moment. I think, listen, I heard from a lot of people that like back home in Canada, oh, I don't really like the song. That song was not good, but the staging was wild and absolutely incredible. And I think at the end of the day, like, I kind of see where they're coming from. I don't think Ferto is musically groundbreaking. The Ferto, like a chorus where it's Ferto. I personally like the song and I find it catchy. I think honestly, he sells the absolute shit out of it. But I got to admit, yeah, maybe the song is not the best. However, the staging, holy camoli ravioli. Yeah, Italy's not winning this, but holy camoli. It's a visual feast, and Greece is the winner for me when it comes to staging. Okay, let's talk about best production. So this one's really hard because I'm gonna get in trouble with a lot of them, I think. But let's begin. Okay, so Finland, I think it goes without saying. I think we can all agree Finland had incredible production. The violin, the melody. It's not, honestly, no shade to Fairy Tale. Love Fairy Tale. Love Alexander Rybak, whatever it is. But that melody, it's great. I don't want to discount it, but that is intense. That is Eurovision. I mean, he won with Fairy Tale too. So they're both Eurovision, but I feel like this melody for the violin, that is some sort of like brain eargasmic fuckery. We also just love a build. I love a climax. We love a good climax at Eurovision, and Finland, they deliver in that category. It starts off very subdued, you know, and there's little plucks, and then it gradually swells into something a little bit more intense. And by the end, it is like, you know, he's hitting crazy notes, obviously. The volume just, everything just, it increases in intensity. There's instruments being added. There's strings that are just swelling and swelling and swelling. And then, you know, it reaches that climax. And for me, I climax. I love it so much. And so Finland obviously deserves to be in this category. Then we have Sweden. Now, we don't get EDM. We've gotten EDM before. But, you know, We Will Rave, great song. That had EDM moments. But this beat drop is dirty. It's the dirtiest beat drop we've ever had at Eurovision for me personally. And I honestly don't really know what more to say. The structure of the song is maybe not my favorite. You know, you only have 3 minutes, and then you have to include that beat drop, and that takes up a little bit of time, but you don't want to create too much dead space. So it's kind of complicated to do a song like this and think of the structure in the best way possible. But ultimately, that beat drop, the build up to that beat drop, music to my ears, I'm absolutely obsessed. So Sweden deserves to be in this category for me. Now let's move along to Romania. Now, Romania is doing something that is just bonkers in this song. What they've managed to do is they created a production where you can allow a singer to sing opera and rock at the same time. And for the most part, the production is mostly, you know, it's just very heavily rock based, but it's open to the idea of including other genres from a vocal perspective. Whoops, I almost lost my mic. The structure of this is a little bit more simple, but overall, I think it's really, really good. The beat is like, and the choke. That moment too, where like she's not singing, but it's the background vocals, and it's like the choir of like 1,000 people just that moment.
I wanted to show me.
It's so sing-alongable. It is so fun. I mean, we saw with the audience, they went absolutely bonkers for the song in the stadium, arena, venue. I don't know what the right word was. Anyways, that was a weird venue. The venue was weird. It looks big on TV, but when you go in it, it's like, oh, this is like a studio. This is like a Moldovan studio set. It seems very small, kind of odd. Not obviously a Moldovan studio set, but you get what I'm saying. Either way, Romania delivered too, so they deserve to be on this list. And then if I'm gonna be 100% honest, like there are other songs, like there's so many songs with great production. Even honestly, I would say Georgia would be like in contention for this list. And I know that's controversial too. My point is, I don't know if another song deserves to be in the category with these 3 great songs production-wise, because I think they're in a league of their own. So I think I'm gonna just reserve these 3 and not have a 4th, if that's okay with you. And ultimately, when it comes to the winner, I don't think there's any surprises here. I think the production when it comes to Finland, the classical nature of the song, you're blending a little bit of a light rock energy with also pop. It's a fusion that is music to my ears, and I think it's pretty undeniable. And finally, the last category for this video, best outfit. And for me, I mean, I feel like this video is really just gonna get me in trouble because like genuinely, like I think my views are maybe somewhat not aligned with the majority of public opinion here, but like we got a lot of great songs this year, great productions, great voices this year. However, when it comes to the outfits, we really didn't get anything like extraordinary. I'm thinking like previous years, like Loreen with her tattoo outfit, that was like a moment with the long nails and everything like that. You know, I'm thinking to La Forza from Estonia a couple years ago, that LED dress, obviously like there, it goes without saying, that's like there's no words for something like that. This year, there was nothing like that really resembled anything like that. Some people might say Australia's dress was beautiful, and it was beautiful and it was long, and I love how when she ascended, it was pretty flowy and nice, but at the end of the day, like it kind of looked like a Miss Universe pageant costume, and I just feel like for Eurovision, I'm wanting something a little bit, just give me something a little different. Give a touch, something that makes me go, okay, that's Eurovision, even if it doesn't have to be out there, but just different. So yeah, Australia wouldn't win this category for me. So when it comes down to it, I really only have one winner, and it would be Cyprus. Now, you know, it's not hard to look incredible when you look like that, and you're just, God has graced you with an absolutely drop-dead gorgeous body and face and figure and everything in between. But removing all of those elements, I really like this outfit because it's a little bit different. It's not your typical normal, like, no offense to Sarah Angles, I like that dress too. It was nice, but we've seen that 1,000 times. This with Cyprus was cool. I like that little thing that separated the top from the bottom. It was white, a little sparkly. It was very beautiful and very flattering on her. And I think especially considering the choreography and what she was expected to do on stage, I think the dress met the moment, along with the fact that, you know, it was very, that performance was very red, very orange, and she stood out in white. I think a lot of the times with those performances where it's like there's a lot of fire and that chaotic Mediterranean energy and whatever, people often put the singer in like a darker color and they kind of blend in more. She stood out like a bright light, and so I really appreciated Cyprus's outfit. And for me, that's the only one where I'm like, you're a winner. You are the winner. It goes without saying, you know, similar to the production category where I can only come up with 3 nominees. The outfit one, I think she's in just a league of her own, and I think she deserves to. It was unlike things that we've seen within that similar category of like pretty girl singing a, you know, ethnic bop song. And so I liked it. She wins that.
I'm dancing on the table, baby. Shake my hips to the teeth and then you
doesn't win best vocals, but she wins best outfit. And that, my friends, is the Eurovision 2026 awards. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to subscribe, like this video, comment your thoughts on who would win for the different categories I mentioned. Maybe make up your own categories too, and feel free to drop in the comment section who would win in those other categories as well. I'll see you guys later. Bye.